Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with Thor's Lightning Takes. And let's get right to the news.
Okay, we got another tidbit sneak peek out of that Entertainment Weekly article that's coming about Andor Season 2 interview with Tony Gilroy.
Excellent.
I mean, we know the final season is coming. Season 2, final season, leading into Rogue One, all excitement. And Tony Gilroy said something very interesting to start it out. He said that a show like Andor will, quote, never happen again.
Is he saying that as in it's never going to be this good again? Which is a sad state. I don't think that's what he's saying, but my initial response is you're probably right, Tony. You're probably right.
Probably right. But he goes on to say, not because we're so great, but because no one's ever going to start a show on this scale again and shoot it practically and have the resources and the protection to do something like this.
Um, I mean, I don't want to argue with him. He knows Hollywood better than I do, obviously.
Obviously.
But as we've been talking about, as I've been talking about on the other channel, what if this show is a smash success? And by smash, I mean significantly better ratings than season one. Again, more critical acclaim, and it has legs. It gets people talking. It kind of hits that mainstream where it's not just Star Wars nerds and some other people.
That everyone's enjoying it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Game of Thrones thing. That maybe not to that extent again, but what do you do? I mean, wouldn't you, if you're Lucasfilm and Disney, look at that and say, okay, we spent a lot of money on it, but it actually worked. What was it about it that worked? Was it the practical effects? Was it the fact that we didn't shoot it on the volume like we have many of our other shows? Is it a combination of that and the quality writing? So, I mean, I get what he's saying, that you're going to be hesitant to throw that kind of money, that kind of time and effort at another show. But if that is what's working, isn't that what you should do, in a manner of speaking?
I agree with that. But not all studios look at it that way.
Well, sure.
If they're just looking at dollars and cents, Andor was incredibly expensive to make because they did the practical things, because they built Ferrix, because they built everything.
But doesn't that say actually people want that? I mean, you can't say, well, we made this successful thing, but we're like disappointed that people liked it because we spent all this time, money, and effort on it. It's like, we want you to like the crap, I guess is what I'm saying. They want you to like the cheap stuff, not the good stuff, so that they can make the crap and make more money, and that's disappointing.
Isn't that what Tony Gilroy had said in Andor, in the Aldhani heist? We give them so much that they don't even know what they're missing out on anymore.
It's true. He's so right, because they try to give you all this options to make you not realize that you're actually not getting quality. You got so much of this, you can watch it and enjoy all this stuff on your streaming service or whatever, but oh, you actually want it to be good? Oh, we'd
But
rather just make slop, a ton of slop, than one good thing.
but then same note, they aren't saying that either, because Gilroy had said in his quote that he had the resources and the protection to do this. They had ultimate freedom. He says, we were protected all the way down the line. Kathleen Kennedy protected us, Lucasfilm protected us, Bob Iger protected us, the audience protected us, The Mandalorian protected us. We had all these people out there backing our play.
Well, if you got Bob Iger, you got the CEO of Disney, I think that's all you really need, actually. I mean, I guess what he's saying is everybody was behind him and supporting him. So again, I go back to the question. If it works, if season 2 is a success, why not do more like this? Why not put the money into it? I mean, if they're getting the money out of it, obviously, if this isn't profitable for them, I understand that. I'm not just saying they should spare no expense and make great Star Wars shows that don't make the money.
Right,
That's
money
not how
is
business
still
works.
finite for a business, yeah.
Well, sure. But if it is working, then maybe you need to finally get the message that you want passion, or the fans want passion out of the people making the shows. They want the money spent on it. They want quality. And if you give them quality, they will give you their money.
What's interesting is that he mentioned how The Mandalorian even protected them. He went on to say the success of The Mandalorian gave us the platform to jump off. Their success is what would fuel the whole thing. I mean, no Baby Yoda, no Andor. Seriously, don't think we don't know that.
I mean, I kind of agree.
The success of The Mandalorian, I think, really fueled Disney trying to make shows.
Yeah, I mean, the success of that probably gave them confidence enough to put the money into something like Andor, because if I'm remembering right, Andor was announced a while ago, like shortly after The Mandalorian season 1, maybe even before it they were talking about an Andor or Rogue One series.
But
I don't
without the
remember.
success that The
Yeah.
Mandalorian brought to the Disney Plus platform, how long would Disney Plus platform be sticking around? I mean, they
Well,
remember
no,
it took
yeah.
years to become even profitable on that.
I guess the other way to look at it is if the Mandalorian had failed, I don't think you just abandon ship right away. I think you're like, well, okay, that didn't work, but we don't.
But do we sink the money into
Well, sure,
Andor
yeah.
anymore?
No, I agree with that, but at the same time, I think you keep trying. So I get
Hmm.
that, but I don't know like the Mandalorian is necessarily responsible for Andor.
But Tony Gilroy believes it is. That
Well,
without the
again, who am I to
Mandalorian,
argue with the guy who is doing all this?
but he makes a good point. If Mandalorian hadn't been successful, would they have given him the money to make this project?
Probably not. But my point was simply that it's not like they give up and say, "Oh, the first show we tried didn't work, so we're not going to do any more Star Wars shows." It was
Right.
inevitable that
But
there was going to be
Andor
more.
was a harder sell than The Mandalorian. The
Yeah,
Mandalorian is much more along the lines of the traditional vein of Star Wars, whereas Andor, I think, is the more sophisticated edge of
yeah.
intrigue in Star Wars.
No, I get that. And Mandalorian is much smaller scale, and
Hmm.
you're doing it on the volume and less actors, less everything.
Right. Whereas this is, I mean, they were
Huge.
doing this during COVID, and they were
Yeah,
still getting support because this project was believed in.
yeah. I get what he's saying.
The next interesting thing, or should I say the last interesting thing he said, is online people try to drive a wedge all the time between us and Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. It's horrible what people say, it's terrible, and the truth is, we don't have a show without them. They gave us the muscle to go.
Hmm. I don't really. I mean, I
There
kind
is
of.
some. There
Yeah,
is
I'm sure
some.
there is some.
People who no longer really believe in John and Dave go, well, Tony Gilroy should be leading the way. He got the better project.
Yeah.
And Tony says it's not like that. There's not a wedge between them. That they're thankful for each other's work, and it's a good thing to hear. Honestly, that from a collaborative, we're all Star Wars standpoint, that you don't
Same
have
team.
one
Yeah.
group hating on another group. I mean, it's funny he didn't mention the acolyte at all, but yeah, it's fine. It's fine.
No one does.
Leslie Headland didn't want to join his team.
But anyway, no, I mean, I don't have like I kind of see them as just separate projects entirely. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know that there was a lot of collaboration between Tony Gilroy and Dave Filoni. I mean, obviously
No.
Filoni is like the head creative guy, so there was some there, but I don't know that Filoni was like in the day-to-day operations of Andor really, and vice
No.
versa. I doubt Tony Gilroy had any say in the Mandalorian later seasons or anything like that.
But at the same time, it is Star Wars, same team,
Yeah.
collaboration. And I like that he's acknowledging that Mandalorian paved the way for them.
No, I think that's cool.
If
That's
there
cool to
wasn't,
give
he's right
the
though.
shout out.
Mandalorian was like the premier launch title of Disney Plus. Mandalorian never gets made, Andor never gets made because Disney Plus probably wasn't even getting made.
Yeah, I mean, Mandalorian being a success, certainly, again, as you said, as Tony basically said here, it gave them confidence to put the money into Andor.
Hmm.
We don't get it otherwise. But like I said, we still get something. It's not like they give up, but we probably get more slop and it just kind of
Right.
cycles and spirals down the drain at that point.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, hopefully I made some sense here. I don't know.
Less than
I think I
usual.
argued against myself at times.
You usually do, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at
That
that.
sounds like a very Thor thing to do.
Yes.
It's in the Thor front of what you do, you could say.
All right, that is all we got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Take to the comments below. I totally lost it. Talk some Star Wars. Thanks for watching. All this stuff.